Hello and welcome here to Sharkys for a review of round 3 of the Pettitts Senior Hurling Championship, which was a big weekend, of course, in terms of the qualification standings. And the first game we're going to discuss is St Anne's against Lynn Barrington. And Ed, you were down in Goat on Friday night. St Anne's 2-15, Lynn Barrington 1-14.
Yeah, it was actually a lot closer game than the final score I suggested, The Anns played with the wind. John Lacey went back as an extra defender for Lynn and played really, really well. And I think there were only 4 or 5 points down at half time. And St Anne's came out in the second half and got the first 3 scores. And they ended up 10 points up, and Fanning got a goal. And I think the major turning point in the game was the introduction of Jonathan Fogarty with about 6 or 7 minutes to go. He was really good and scored the all-important goal, set up a point, won a few frees and used his head, But Liam Oak was immense in that match, and so was Jared Dempsey, and Mark Fanning was very, very good as well.
And there has been a bit of talk so far about how many Lynn were missing, but they were very competitive in this particular game.
Yeah, no. When I think of Lynn's 3 games, they have definitely performed in 2 of them. Like they drew with the Harriers, and they very nearly won that match the other night. With 15 minutes to go, playing with a strong wind, they could have won it. They were only a point behind. They could have won it, but the experience of the Anns and Jonathan Fogarty's introduction won the game for the Anns, I felt.
Now, Ned, you were in Monamalin on Friday night, but from what you've seen of St Anne's and Lynn so far in the championship, what do you make of them?
Sir St Anne's had an impressive win over the Martins, Peter, and I saw it Lynn against the Harriers, and a competitive game, and the game the other night with the Raps and Ferns was a tight game also, and it went right down to the wire, a point in it at the end, 5 or 6 minutes extra time. I thought the Raps, to be fair, were a little bit hard done by, because possibly a fair result would have been a draw. But there were some impressive performances from both teams. And Ferns are laying down the marker, they're going to put up a good effort to retain their title. And I suppose it looks like the 2 of those have sort of more or less qualified now. But Sir Liam Ryan, as usual, Lean Byrne, Kevin Foley, the usual inter-county men, they were good on the night. There were some fantastic points. There was a strong wind there on the night, probably ruined the game. And there was a couple of heavy showers there, but I'm sure both of them would be happy with their performances on the night, and sure they're going to be in the mix with amongst 3 or 4 more teams to win the championship at the end of the day. I don't think the Raps would be too concerned about losing it, but they're up there with 3 or 4 more teams to win the championship.
So that's just a brief recap of the 2 Friday night games. So we had wins for St Anne's and wins for Ferns. And we move on then to the double header that was in Wexford Park on Saturday. And the first game in that double header was Aldgate Glenbrine against the Fight Harriers, Ed. And Aldgate winners by a point.
Yeah, the game will be remembered for the sheer brilliance of Shane and Damien Rick as well. And I felt Shane Rick actually done well, And imagine if he wasn't on Shane, he would have really shot the lights out, The Harriers played against the wind in the first half, and they were a point down at half time. I felt the Harriers were going to push on and win it, and it looked like that, but Aldgate introduced Evan Kelly, who'd be more known as a cornerback. He went up into the full forward line, set up Podstone for a goal and a point. It was a key moment in the match, I felt, but Mike Kelly played really well. Conal Clancy started really well for the Harriers.
There not naturally enough be disappointment from a Harriers point of view, Ned, with the final result?
Yeah, they're struggling now, Peter, because they've only 1 point from 3 games. And initially there were a lot of people's fancy for the championship, but some of the young fellas sort of haven't put their best foot forward, and they're going to be under pressure now, to avoid relegation. They've 2 tough games left, St Anne's and St Martin's, and it's very hard to see them beating any of those on current form. Take chin off of the Harriers team, he's practically a one-man team, and so my heart went out to him the other night, because he had played so well and scored 15 points, and you're always about to miss one. A little bit of pressure was on him at the end too, but you couldn't take that from him, because he so far in the championship series, the man of the championship, and like he did everything but win the game on his own for the Harriers. And like fair play to Aldgate, like as you said, like they look as if they were going to lose the match at half time, and like only because they were playing into a strong win in the second half. But in fairness, like the two Ricks, like you'd have to commend those guys as well. Like, you know, they were on some ball, and like they kept Aldgate to the fore there the whole time. Mikey Kelly also, and you know, and Seamus Casey on the frees, like, and so you can't miss a free now. Like with the modern ball, like if you miss a free, it's so vital, you know. But like Aldgate now have 3 points, and sure the pressure seemingly off of them a little bit, but like sure we'll be hoping for the best from the Harriers. But like some of these young fellas like that, you know, they were building up there to be the stars of the future. Like they'll have to put their hand up now and show what they're made of for the Harriers to get out of the trouble they're in.
So a win there for Aldgate, and the second game was a 9-point victory in the end for St Martin's against Gorey.
Yeah, again, you know, Gorey would have been happy enough going in at half time, and it started second half. They got within a point, I think, and Conor MacDonald almost scored a great goal. It was a great pass in by young Keane Brown, and Conor MacDonald 9 times out of 10 would have finished them, but the game swung in St Martin's favour then, and of course we had a goal from Rory O'Connor, and what a pass by Rory O'Connor for the second week in a row, doing something different, and set up Joe Coleman. He finished the net. Joe Coleman had a very good game, and so did Joe O'Connor and Joe Barrett. They had a lot of good performances on the day, but I'd say Gorey will be disappointed that how they finished the game in the last 20 minutes. But you know, Charlie McGuckin is a revelation wing back now for Gorey, so he's, you know, Chin is probably the man of the championship, McGuckin is probably the second man of the championship. So, but Ned was on about free taking, you know, the standard of free taking was very high Saturday. Like I think Casey missed one, Chin missed one, and Joe Coleman probably didn't miss any, and Jack Cullen got some great frees, and Patrick died, so standard of free taking was very high.
And what did you make of the St Martin's and Gorey game, Ned?
Yeah, so obviously St Martin's have upped their performance from the loss to St Anne's. They have the talent, there's no doubt about it. They're a big, strong team. Sir Joe Coleman was on song the other night. He was here, there and everywhere. He read the play well, he struck his frees well, and you know, they gave a good performance, like, and on that performance, like, you sort of have to put them in pole position. But they're, like, as Ed said, I'd say Gorey are a little bit disappointed as well. It seems to me that they're not happy with their team placings. Joe Cullen, is it? Jack Cullen, the free taker. One day he's centre field, another day he's wing forward, another day he's wing back. They don't seem to have found the right position. And as you said, McGuckin is playing well. Like he was brilliant the other night. Like he was on a lot of ball. But still, look, there's 2 more games to go on. There's a quarter-finals there for to be aimed at, and they may not be too concerned. But like I'd be sort of concerned now if I was in Gorey's position, because you know it's nice to keep winning, and it'll probably give the Martins a good boost going forward in their next 2 games.
And of course, last year Gorey won their first 3 and then lost the last 2, and
probably lost a bit of momentum with that, you know.
Yeah. So the standings after round 3 in Group A are as follows. We have St Anne's sitting nicely at the top of the table on 5 points and a score difference of +9. St Martin's are in second place on 4 points and a score difference of +22. Nevena are in third place on 4 points with a score difference of +7. Aldgate are in fourth place on 3 points with a score difference of -4. And Fife Harriers and Lynn are both on a point apiece, but the Harriers have the advantage on score difference at the moment. Their score difference is -12, and Lynn are at the foot of the table on a score difference of -22. So that's the roundup from Group A. And the final 2 games of the round 3 were on Sunday evening, and they were both in Group B. We had the first one up was the Shelmaliers and Owler de Balloch. Ned, and what did you make of that one?
I thought the standard in the 2 games on Sunday evening wasn't great, to be honest, Peter. It was poorish enough type of a standard, and I think the 2 losers in those, Owlert and Ratnure, they certainly won't be happy with their performance, and they're going to struggle like in their last couple of games. And sure, obviously now it looks like they're going to be in relegation with the Harriers and Glenn Barrington from the other group. I thought the team tactics weren't great. Like, it's all about tactics now in hurling, but like they were over playing with the ball, running into trouble in both games. And I thought the outstanding man on the of the two games, definitely, and I don't think he's even 100% fit at the moment, was Padraig Foley. And I think only for him, like, Cross the Beg would have struggled, but like, he's a mountain of a man, and he gave a colossal display, and I'm sure Owlert are definitely disappointed, and Ratnew are disappointed with the performance overall, and have a lot of work to do now to sort of stay up in senior for this year.
And your thoughts on the two games, Ed?
Yeah, I think Ned is right. I think it was a very poor standard myself. You know, the county players for Shelmere shone out like a beacon, you know. Conor Hearn and Simon Donoghue. I think they scored 9 points between the two of them, which is phenomenal for a man playing centre back and wing forward. You know, the Shells looked dangerous when they got in on goal. Sharkys Card scored 2 goals, had 1 disallowed. The Shells could have scored more goals, but Owlert were very competitive for 40 minutes, and then they lost Owen Moore with it looks like a hand or shoulder injury. He was definitely holding something, and once he went off, I think the floodgates opened. But I'm sure they will be delighted to see Sean Murphy back in action, you know, and I know he wasn't 100% the other night, but he still got through it, so that's something for him going forward. The Cross the Beg Rathnure game, yeah, Paddy Foley was really good, and so was Brodie Murphy and Mark Byrne. You know, Rathnure conceded 2-12 in the second half. 9 of the 12 points were from frees, which is way too much to be conceding, especially with a wind. But again, Rathnure were very good in the first half and missed chances, could have been further ahead, only went in 6 points up, and then Ballymurn came out, got the first 3 scores in the second half. They were in touching distance then, and Ballymurn definitely deserved to win that game on their second half performance.
And it's 3 fairly large defeats now so far for Rathnure, Ed.
Yeah, they haven't been putting 60 minutes of hurling together. They played well in the second half against the Raps, they played well in the first half against Shells, and played well in the first half yesterday. So, you know, they need to put 60 minutes plus hurling together. And, you know, we keep saying it, they do have the forwards, but they need to play for 60 minutes.
So the standings as they currently are in Group B then, Ferns are sitting pretty at the top. They have 3 wins from 3, and they have a score difference of +9. The Shelmaliers are in second place with 4 points and a score difference of +19. The Rapparees are in third place on 4 points with a score difference of +9. And Crossabeg are in the 4th qualification spot at the moment on 3 points and a score difference of +3. 5th are Owlert with a point from the draw that they got against Crossabeg. Their score difference is -17. And Rathnure at the moment are the only team in senior without a point on the board yet, and their score difference is -23.